Chosen, you hold the inheritance contract. Hello to everyone. Thank you all for joining me at this time. My name is Shavi Zane, and I'm coming on to bring a message for the chosen. If you find that this message resonates with you in any way, please be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment below. Let us know how it resonates with your circumstance. So as I was saying, chosen, you hold the inheritance contract. Many of you know what this means by now. And if you don't know, let me break it down to you. Over the past few generations, there has been a constant battle within your lineage to see who would end up obtaining the overall inheritance. And I'm not talking about your grandfather's house. I'm not talking about your grandmother's life savings. I'm speaking on the inheritance of your lineage. I'm talking about the gift of wisdom, the gift of spirituality, the gift of healing yourself and others, the gift of understanding the mysteries of the universe. You have earned these gifts, and your ancestors were very, very, very particular about who would end up having these gifts in their possession. And I'm talking about your ancient ancestors. At that time, people were very, very particular about who they shared their wisdom with, right? Especially when you're talking about occult wisdom, understanding things on a deeper level, understanding the mysteries of the universe, utilizing alchemy to transmute energy, to shift circumstances, healing remedies. All of these things were not just handed out haphazardly, right? They were distributed only to those who had rightfully earned those gifts, because these are great gifts. And if they are placed in the hands of the wrong person or group of people, then they will be perverted and abused. And we have seen that happen time and time again by the powers that were, right? So your ancient ancestors were very particular about who they shared this wisdom with. And for those who were not worthy, they did not receive the gifts, right? It's no different than you today. If you were talking about 3D inheritance, let's just say you have a home that you've worked hard for, and you have children. Let's say you have 3 children, and out of the 3 children, 2 of them are completely reckless, right? They abuse others, they abuse themselves. They are constantly repeating this cycle of just the worst, wasting their life, wasting their time, wasting resources, and only thinking about pleasure, right? Pleasure seeking behavior patterns and addictions. But you have that one child who is upright. They have morals. They have, listened to the wisdom that you've shared with them. Not only have they listened, but they've applied the knowledge that you have given them, and they have turned it into wisdom. They are now very wise, and they are, very noble, and they self-govern, and they're just living a very righteous life, right? Who do you think you're going to leave your inheritance to after you work that hard? You're going to leave it to the one who is the most responsible, who's not going to squander your life's work. The other 2, they're just going to be SOL. But generally what happens, right, is when you have those 2 siblings versus the 1, the 2 who are living a very corrupt path, and they're watching the upright one who has separated themselves, right? Because they understand that interacting or intermingling with those 2 siblings who are trashing their life would be very corrupt to their own particular circumstance. So they take a different path, right? They recognize that they're very different and that they just don't fit in. Even though they're blood related, they don't feel any type of real connection to these siblings, right? So they take a different path and decide, I want to be the better version of me every day. That is their goal. That is their mission. That sibling who stands out and does the right thing will naturally become a target for those two who have chosen to live a very corrupt life. Early in age, they become a target, right? Because those two who have chosen the path of their carnal nature, of pleasing their carnal nature, automatically target the upright sibling, because they intuitively know that that sibling is going to be the star or the light of the parent's eyes, right? They are the one that the parent is proud of. They are the one that the parent can talk about freely and to feel good about how they've raised that particular child, right? And so they naturally know that that child, that sibling, is likely going to receive the inheritance. So then there becomes this battle. Okay, there's spiritual warfare, there's physical warfare that takes place against that child who is clearly the chosen, right? Because their parents have then chosen them to be the heir of the inheritance. So because they now have been chosen to receive the inheritance, now they stand out like a sore thumb in the midst of all of the wolves, right? Right? It becomes a sheep amongst a lot of wolves. And so they end up being targeted by these family members who are now jealous of their position and the future, which is going to consist of many blessings, them being crowned and rewarded for their persistence in being the better version of themselves, right? And so this is the same thing that happens for the chosen seed when ancient times, we're talking about years and years and years and years and years ago, your ancestors chose you. They did not know your name. They did not know what you was going to look like. They did not know what date you was going to be born, what city you was going to be born. They didn't even know your parents' name. But one thing that they did know, which is the most important and the most vital, is that there were particular principles that they would need for you to follow. Your ancestors did not discriminate. And that's what the karmics in your life need to understand. Your ancient ancestors did not discriminate and say it's going to go to that one right there that was born December 11th, or that one right there that was born April 7th, or that one right there that was born in California, and their mother's name is Teresa and their father's name is Joe. No, they were not that detailed when it came to 3D qualifications. They were more specific when it came to the spiritual qualifications that it would take in order for you to obtain this inheritance. So you know what that means? That means that your ancestors were very open-minded to whoever would receive this inheritance. They did not say, oh no, Shawana will not receive it because she was born to these particular parents and was raised this particular way. No, they said the energetic signature must match a particular blueprint. And if the energetic signature does not match this particular blueprint, then they are not to inherit the wisdom, the spiritual gifts, the inheritance of their ancient ancestors. This is all about energy, y'all. It's always been about energy. It's never been about physical appearance. It's never been about demographics. It's never been about, political status. None of these things mattered, because the things that matter are things that are in the material realm. We're not talking about those things that are dense in energy. Your ancestors were focused on the spiritual nature of who you are. So when you went through your spiritual awakening and you made the conscious decision to become the better version of yourself, and every day to work hard to become better today than you are yesterday, you raised your vibration so high that you then begin to match the frequency of the one that they had been waiting for to be born through the lineage. Your sister who chose the wrong path, your brother who chose the wrong path, your mother or your father or your grandmother, grandfather, your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, those people that chose the wrong path did not match the energetic signature to receive the inheritance. It was not because your ancient ancestors said that they could not possess it. It's because they said only a particular energy can possess it. So these karmics who have an issue with you are looking at you as if, you were just the favorite. You must have done something to get this, right? You must have done something nefarious. You must have, XYZ, XYZ, right? They have all things to say about you. They call you everything but a child of the Most High Mother and Father. They will not acknowledge that you have gotten to where you are because of your perseverance and your healing and your willingness to separate yourself and to go within and to discover those wounds and to heal those wounds, right? To enlighten yourself, to awaken your creative ideas and to pursue them, to take the practical effort. They have no idea that you are the one behind the scenes who was breaking the generational curses, who was praying that, unhealthy anchors and contracts and bondage over yourself, your lineage, your offspring would be broken. Like you unselfishly took on a mission that they would not have even thought to do. Because many of these people are so focused on what they can show in the 3D realm, what people can see from them, who's going to recognize them, what type of clout do they have, what type of finances do they have, what type of threads are they wearing, where are they living, how much are they making, who are they with, how many friends do they have? Like these people were so focused on the shallow things in life that they was not able to match the frequency of what your ancient ancestors required. And so therefore, they automatically took themselves off of the chessboard, right? They automatically just went ahead and hey, they bowed out. That's on them. But you possess the inheritance contract. This has been signed over to you. This was signed to you in blood. This is your bloodline where there were so many sacrifices that had to be made in order for you to finally come around and say, you know what? I'm looking around here. I'm looking around me, and not one person has decided to heal themselves. Not one. Now, if you are really like gifted by the Most High, you will have a few who are in your family who are taking the path of spirituality and they are committed to it, right? It's a very uncommon thing, though. I have to say it. I have to be honest. You may have some who will start to take the path, but when that thing starts to get too rocky and they start to see too much, they bow out real fast. So you will know the ones who are fully committed to it just based on their commitment to the journey, right? And how they handle the different lessons and obstacles that they will have to face as they continue to shed old layers that no longer serve them, right? It's not a comfortable process. But I say that to say, those who were surrounding you, they now know without a shadow of a doubt that you possess the inheritance. It's not something that you're still trying to get access to, where they're still trying to fight up against you and create spiritual warfare against you and obstacles to prevent you from getting to that treasure. No, that's no longer happening. And if it is happening, then they're blind, right? Because you already possess the contract. It's been written in stone that you are the heir. And so now you face a different problem, right? The type of issue that comes towards you when it comes to these karmics now is folks popping up out of the woodworks, acting like you owe them something, right? It ain't no hi, it ain't how you doing, it ain't, let's get, XYZ. No, it's what you got for me. Let me get that. I need this. Gimme, right? That becomes the name of the game. And so now the next step It's for you to just stand in your power and teach people that no is a complete sentence, because your ancestors, they held a particular standard in order for you to receive the inheritance. And they literally withheld these gifts from practically everybody in your bloodline for these past few generations to ensure that only the one who was on the right frequency would receive it. And so because their standards were so high, you have an obligation to ensure that you don't go around just distributing this inheritance to those who have not earned it. So this is the next phase of what things look like when you end up possessing the contract, right? No different than the same scenario that I gave you concerning the three siblings, two of which chose a very unhealthy lifestyle, right? And the other who chose a very righteous and upright lifestyle, right? Let's just say their parents left them 1 million, left that righteous child $1 million. And the other two said, I'm not giving you anything. The next part of the drama is gimme, gimme, gimme. It's not just for you. That was my parents too, right? You're not the only one that's supposed to have it. Now they gonna swear up and down that you done stole something from them, right? They're going to swear up and down that you took their portion. When in fact, your ancient ancestors said the entire portion is for you, chosen. The entire portion. If they wanted to distribute some of these gifts to those who chose a life of corruption and carnal-minded living, then they would have set that aside and said, yeah, this is your portion. Right? This is your portion. But no, your ancestors made it clear that everything that they held in their possession was of great value. And so the only one who would be worthy of receiving that would be someone who has met their own value, someone who values themselves, someone who values their connection to the Most High Mother and Father, someone who values their temple, who values healthy living dynamics, okay, loving themselves, having just an all-out heart of compassion, empathy. Like it's a lot of things that your ancestors said, this is what is needed energetically. And if it's not met, you don't get it. So you have folks around that's bitter. They're bitter because your life is getting ready to transform in ways that they never saw coming. Because the fact of the matter is the contract, they knew that there was something there. You know how, I mean, everybody is not gifted to have parents who can leave them something, substantial. But consider, you know how you have them old school parents that they might not tell you what they have saved up, right? They'll tell you, okay, yeah, I'm going to leave you something. And when I pass away, I'm going to leave the will right there, in that safe, or I'm going to leave it XYZ, right? But they may not have told you what to expect. So nobody really knows what they got, right? They just know that something is coming. That's how it is when it comes to your inheritance, chosen. Nobody understood how great or how big this thing would be. Nobody understood the type of spiritual gifts that you would be able to activate, or the type of ancient divine wisdom that you would possess, or the type of healing abilities, or the type of wealth that you would ultimately attract to you. No one could anticipate just how grand this contract would be, this inheritance would be. Nobody knew, not even you. And so when they start to see you flourish, they're going to start flocking in like doggone moths to a flame. But you have to stand firm and saying no to protect what your ancestors worked so hard to preserve for you. Not only did they work hard to preserve it for you, but in the spiritual realm, now that you have broken the generational curses, right? And you have been very, very very intentional about breaking the chains off of your lineage, your ancestors have been paying close attention to everybody. They went around and they did their rounds. They evaluated the movements that people was making, and the selfishness and the underhandedness and the jealousy and the envy and the gossip and the lying and the deception and the carnal nature, and just all, and nothing went unnoticed. Your ancestors was going around checking boxes, taking names, doing all of these things, and when you awakened, they said, that one right there, that's the one right there. Do you see how persistent they are? Do you see how committed they are? Do you see what they do in the presence of adversity? Do you see how they handle it with integrity? Do you see how they're able to bounce back from circumstances? Do you see how now they're going with the flow? Do you see how in the midst of chaos, they still find time to stop and smell the roses? Do you see how they acknowledge us? Do you see how that chosen seed gives honor to those of us who worked hard and who had integrity and love and compassion? Do you see how intentional they are when they're learning about manifesting? They're not just thinking about their material wealth or the things that they want to have in their closet or the type of car they want to drive or the shoes they want to wear. They're not just concerned about the material things, but they are far more focused on the spiritual inheritance, breaking these chains so that their offspring and their future offspring will not have to suffer. They saw everything. And so those people who are jealous of you for receiving this inheritance, they're just going to have to get over it, because they had the opportunity to straighten up and to do exactly what you did. Listen, many are called, but few are chosen. You took the call, chosen. You didn't press the snooze button. You didn't play no games. You didn't say, hold on, let me go and do this over here first. No. When the time came, you jumped on it. And because you made that decision to do what was righteous, and you unselfishly decided to use your gift of alchemy to shift circumstances for your lineage, they are now rewarding you. So don't let anybody guilt trip you into feeling like you owe them something or you took something from them. Don't let anybody guilt trip you, because you recognize that you are protecting something that is highly valuable and that is only handed down and gifted to those who have earned it. You won't even hand these things down to your own children if you find that they are repeating cycles of their ancestors that don't serve them, right? You're going to carry on the same qualifications that your ancient ancestors had of you. And so this is not about favoritism. This is not about, oh, this one looks this way, so I'm going to give it to that one. Or this one talks this way. So no, this is all about energy. Your family, they missed the mark. That's their bad. Let them deal with it. And don't feel bad about being proud of your inheritance. You've earned this. You have earned this. So that's my message for you all. I hope that it brought you clarity. If you have anything to add, please leave it in the comments below. I would love to hear what you have to say. Like, subscribe, and I will talk to you all next time.